G'day guys, welcome back to True Eagle. Today we're going to do a bit of a fun video. I'm going to rank all of the West Coast Eagles jumpers. Not absolutely every jumper. What I've done is trim the fat a little bit because on the website I found it listed every single Eagles jumper ever, which means every time there was a supplier change and we changed the collar, like I don't care. So to give you an example, right, 2018 to now we've worn the royal blue with the modern logo, but on the website it had every little supplier change we've had, which means there's been 5 jumpers since 2018, and in my head there's been 1 jumper. But there are some others that are pretty subtle differences, but I think are significant that I left in this video. So I'm going to be using Tier Maker to rank them into tiers. At the top tier, I'm obviously going to put the jumpers that I love the most, and the D tiers are the ones that I never want to see again. Obviously, this is going to be super subjective. It's based on perception. It's going to possibly be based on what era you grew up in as well, as to how you see these jumpers. I started watching in about 02, so like we're going to have different levels of nostalgia with different jumpers and the memories, and perhaps the jumpers we win premierships in are the ones we favor the highest. I didn't watch the 90s flags, so maybe that will influence my rankings. So let's crack into it, and I usually like to start these by setting a framework of the top and the bottom, and then working out everything in between, maybe trying to come up with one for each tier. So what is my favorite jumper? I actually think the modern jumper here is my favorite, and I think the new logo looks all right. And I think it's modern, and possibly, it probably weighs into it that we won a flag in it. I'm not going to lie, but I was so happy when we went to a royal blue jumper at home, and it made me think, how the hell did we ever stop wearing royal blue jumper with gold wings at home ever? I think back to like 2010, right? We had the navy tri-panel jumper, then we had the blue royal jumper as our away jumper, and then we had this white clash jumper as well. So as it turned out, we'd play like 7 games in royal blue. How do we ever let that happen? That is a terrible decision. The best thing we ever did was switch back to royal blue at home and what is currently also our away jumper, and only have the yellow as a clash. I think that is the best mix we've ever had. So real happy with it. What's the bottom tier one? I'm probably going to put this white jumper in D tier. Now, is it hideous? No, I don't think it's hideous. Don't forget, I think it was 2010 this came in. I could be wrong, but I think it's 2010. And this was this like league-wide thing where every team had to have a white clash jumper. So every team sort of went with a generic white jumper with the head of their logo or something on it. And I think it was just kind of a gross period for AFL jumpers. This one was fine. I don't like how it doesn't have the wings personally, but it looked okay. But again, never wear it again, please. Now, to be boring, I'm going to also put this 2006 Premiership jumper up there, and I'm also going to put this one here. Now, the differences between these two are very subtle, or to more, keen watchers, they might see the massive differences between the two. But firstly, like the white trim around the eagle head, that changed in, I reckon, around 2012, I think. I still think they're both great jumpers. This jumper here, I'm pretty sure we debuted in round 2 of the 2003 season. We were playing Hawthorn. Pretty sure we lost that game 91-89. Jade Rawlings played for Hawthorn. That is complete memory, okay? So fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that's bang on. And I remember them running out and being like, they've gone back to their old jumper. And it was just our away jumper, but it was by far our best jumper. And I used to long for games where we'd play like Sydney or Richmond at Subiaco Oval, because for some reason we would wear royal blue at home to those teams, and every other home game we wear the navy tri-panel. But this has been our best jumper, save for just a few logo tweaks. They're all in the top tier. Now, there is one jumper here that is almost the same, but it is subtly different. And again, I don't know how many of you know exactly what I'm talking about, or perhaps some of you are thinking I'm going crazy, thinking there's a big difference. But look at the wings here. I think this was 2015, maybe 2014, but certainly 2015, a 2015 grand final jumper. They just cramped the wings right down. And I don't need massive wings. And at times I think our wings have gotten really big. I don't know if that's reflected here in the graphics, but these tiny wings, I think it's more the front of it. Look, it just kind of cramps up a little bit too high on the pec there. So still a great jumper, royal blue, fantastic. I love that we've never played a grand final in anything other than royal blue, but still not quite as good as these top tier ones. Let's talk about this ochre monstrosity. Now, look, as a jumper, it is hideous. It does not look good, but with a bit of time, a bit of age, I kind of think of it as like a lot of Fremantle's retro jumpers. You know how Fremantle started wearing their retro jumpers for retro round, and people are like, damn, that looks good. Well, I think there's a little bit of nostalgia in that, because I don't think the jumper is actually good, but with a modern twist on it, it did look all right, I'm not going to lie. And I reckon if we brought this ochre back for like a retro round, it could be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but it is still a gross jumper. Like, Who thought that was a good idea? What was happening in the early 2000s? Seriously. This firmly goes in the category of like, I never want to see it as an actual jumper, but for retro round, it'd be cool. As for the white jumper, I don't even want to see that for retro round. Actually, there's a chance I'm going to move that down to D, but we'll see how these all work out here. Now, the Navy home jumper. This is an interesting little 2-year period we have of that specific jumper. I reckon it was 2016 and 17. We got rid of the tri-panel jumper, which is this one here, if you can see my cursor, and went to a wings. Now, I do think that's an improvement. Because I like the wings. It's part of our identity. But at the same time, why navy? Now, I had a friend who worked in the industry broadly, let's say, around that 2018 period when we switched to what is now our currently royal blue jumper. And I saw the message where they announced it was going to happen before it actually came out. And it kind of implied that we were wearing navy while SGIO was our sponsor. But when SGIO left, we could change it back to royal blue. So I don't know why that's the case. I think that's gross. And I just don't think navy should be part of our identity. I think we're royal blue. That being said, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. So I'd also put these jumpers in this same category here. Now, there's subtle differences between these two. On the screen, it looks like that's a lighter shaded navy. I don't know if that's just the way the website spat it out. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong there. But I think it's just got the eagle head bigger there, and maybe more white on the outside of the logo. I don't know. It's all the same to me. And I also kind of associate this jumper. I reckon this was post-94 Premiership and obviously pre-2000, actually, I think. And a bit of a... I mean, we were still playing finals, I think, but a bit of a forgotten about part of our history. And maybe that's why I also don't associate it too powerfully with this football club. Again, I don't know if I really love the jumper, but it's probably B tier. Then I think this home jumper here, this was the first home jumper I saw us with. So I don't know when exactly it came in. I'm guessing at least 2000 because that is the same as that jumper, but normal colors. And I think we kept that until 2008. So like the Cousin Judd era, that was our home jumper. And I suppose there's some nostalgia for it. I do kind of not hate it, but at the same time, like that is just kind of gross. I just don't think it's aged well. It really doesn't age well. And to be honest, I think maybe this jumper, I actually just don't like it. I just really don't like it. It has not aged well for me. To think that this great football club went through a period of wearing a tri-panel jumper like that, I just don't think it looks good. It doesn't look like West Coast. And that's coming from someone who saw us wear that jumper for 17 years, 16 years. I don't know about it. Maybe these rankings are all whack, but I suppose the difference is like that's got wings and that doesn't. Then we got a bunch of similar sort of ones. A lot of the subtle differences here are just like the logo, right? This one here is our original jumper. Okay, so maybe at least A tier, but again, I just don't hold nostalgic connection to this particular jumper. I think it looks okay. I do think we look a lot better in blue than we do in yellow, and I think it serves as a nice clash jumper. It's still part of our identity. It's still kind of unique rather than being generic and white. But at the same time, I don't really want to ever see us wear yellow at home, and that's why I probably put that. Oh, this one's still okay. This is our current clash jumper. I don't mind it. I do think it is a tier better than this one. Now, I have no issues with that particular logo, but maybe they belong in the same tier, to be honest. I mean, really, am I really caught up on the logo? I actually did quite like that eagle head. I'm a little bit torn on that one. Maybe it's still going to be better than this. I think part of the factor is it's like, I don't know if I actually prefer the yellow jumper to the navy blue that much, but I did have a real problem with that being our home jumper. And I think our home jumper is going to be our primary reflection of who we are. The yellow clash is fine because it's a clash. So there's a bit of a nuance to that. Look, I think I would be probably being a little disrespectful if I put this, I believe this is our 92 and 94 Premiership jumper, if I'm not mistaken, with the Eagles. That's the difference here. It's the only one that says Eagles. Now, I think the Eagles part is dorky a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but it is also still something I associate with 92 and 94. And while they predate me, I'm still proud of those premierships because I love this football team. And these jumpers here, again, it looks like a slightly different shade of blue. I don't know if that's actually correct or if it's just my laptop. And there is a bit more of a white trim on here. So I'm going to put these probably this tier here. Can we make any refinements to this? Look, I still really like that eagle logo here. The wings kind of brought it down a little bit. I probably am going to shuffle this around a little bit. Look, ochre goes below. Again, retro only, but it is bad. I think I can't put that too far low. I'm going to put all the navies down one, actually. Maybe, but then I do think this one is significantly bad. I don't know. I'm kind of messing around at this point. I'm going to put the yellows in here because I don't particularly have a huge affinity with them. I didn't actually mean it to turn out this way, but there's a clear color blend here. So there's a couple of subtle differences here, but I suppose this is top tier. These are our premiership jumpers, except that one. We didn't win a premiership in that jumper. Not a huge fan of the yellows, so I think it's okay. The navy, I just never want to see us back in again. Yeah, right. So that was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I've kind of, had a little bit more subtleties and nuance to it, and then I just ended up ranking them by color. But I think that's where I sit. I do think this jumper here, this home jumper here, is worse than the other, even that tri-panel jumper there, which is probably on par with a lot of these jumpers. And I do have a lot of good memories with this jumper here. Well, actually more so this jumper here, because that was 2000 to 2007. And then this was 2008 to 2015. Oh, I don't know. It's tricky. But that's probably my take on it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you would do differently. I reckon there's going to be a lot of differences. I know that the yellow wings, as in this B tier here, does have a lot of fan favorites. What is my favorite logo? I really love this ochre logo here. I do love it. But the new one's grown on me, so I don't think we should change back. I think I read somewhere that they were talking about changing it back to the old logo. I think that would be a step back. I like this more modern look for now, for our current era, but that one is probably also a big favorite of mine. So again, all over the place. This is tricky, but the current jumper setup we have, I love, and I don't really want to ever change, and I don't think that should ever change. The royal blue is who we are, and the yellow is a nice nod to our history, and we also need to have a clash jumper, so I think it works well. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you'd agree with and disagree with, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.